Hi guys, it's Cal from Dirty Weasel. With the release of Fallout 4 just a handful of weeks away, I know that many mod creators are already in the planning stages to mod the game. Combine that with announcements from Bethesda that they are allowing mods to be available to console players, there's a lot of excitement out there in the modding community about the future. Here at Dirty Weasel Media, we will be bringing you interviews with various mod creators about their upcoming work for Fallout 4. With us now we have mod creator Zealotlee, who made news recently with the word that he's already working on new mods for Fallout 4. In 2010, Zealotlee created a number of weapon mods for Fallout 3, including the SVD Dragonov, an MP5 Pack, and the ACR-Adaptive combat rifle. He then ported them all over to Fallout New Vegas in early 2011 with the mod Armaments. Zealotlee is also a member of the renowned Project Nevada team for Fallout New Vegas. Thanks for joining us. Should I call you Zealot or Lee?
Zealotlee is actually fine.
Zealotlee it is then. What made you want to start creating mods in the first place?
I actually went to school for game design, which in retrospect was not the best decision, but it actually, gave me the skill sets I needed, and I was like, well, I really should get into some kind of project or something. And Fallout came out, and I was really into it, and I loved making guns. That was like, fell right into that. Even when I was working like on my early models, I loved making guns.
Yeah, they are really some high quality stuff, and I was very impressed when looking at them.
Thank you.
Hey, you stepped out of modding scene for a while, and now you're back with a new creation for Fallout 4. Why the return?
I was gone because I was doing a lot of freelance work, mostly non-3D related stuff. I came back because I wanted to get back into doing 3D again, and Fallout. I saw the announcement for Fallout 4, hopped on the hype train like everybody else,
right?
And I was just like, I gotta make something for this. So I thought, well, I'll start working on something. That way, when the game comes out, I can just have it ready to go once the modding tools are released and put it right in.
That sounds great. Let's talk about the upcoming mod. What are you calling it? Is it an energy weapon or a ballistic weapon?
I think I'm going to call it an energy weapon. Initially, I wanted to make it where you would have energy cells like how the Gauss rifle worked in Fallout 3. It actually used energy, like the microfusion cells.
Right.
However, I think I'm going to change the way I'm doing that because someone pointed out on the Bethesda forums that each energy weapon seems to be using their own type of ammo. Like plasma actually uses like physical plasma as opposed to energy cells this time around. Mm-hmm. Laser weapons still use the cells, but that's apparently the only one that's going to.
Wow,
so more than likely, I'm going to make a new ammo type, similar to I think the older Fallout games had like a 2mm EC ammo. I'll probably stick with something like that, to where the actual like ammo, like the bullet itself, has a slight electrical charge in it that basically is drawn from it when it fires.
Wow, you're putting a lot of thought into this and actually creating new assets just beyond the gun. That's interesting. Do you have a name for this gun already?
Right now it's a rail rifle, as opposed to which confused a lot of people. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna stick with that name because they thought it was like some kind of railway rifle, like from 3 that shot railway spikes, but it's really in practice a rail gun.
Right.
Which uses magnets to propel projectiles at a very high velocity.
Oh yeah, I kind of know what you're talking about. So the name's still up in the air. Got it. So the styling, when I first saw the early renders, it reminded me of the old feared German MG42. Is that where you're getting your inspiration?
Yes, it is. It's one of the main references I'm using for this gun. I decided on that because I was looking, before I started, I looked back at like some of the things people were saying about my old weapons, particularly the rail cannon from Project Nevada, because I definitely wanted to do another rail type weapon. For some reason, I don't know what it is, I like those kind of weapons. And people were saying, oh, it's too modern, it doesn't really fit the Fallout aesthetic that well. So I'm like, okay, well, what's an older weapon that I can basically model this weapon off of that would help achieve that retro look that Fallout has? And the MG42 fit that bill perfectly. Now, what happened was when I actually went to make the model, I was working on it, And then the gameplay trailer and the E3 stuff came out, and then I saw that you could customize all your weapons. I'm like, whoa, this changes everything.
Right.
So then, as opposed to just making one long-barreled weapon that was probably just going to be like another light machine gun type, I went and planned a bunch of different parts and everything, and now it can be configured to for multiple purposes, either like up to from a sniper rifle to like base close combat assault rifle.
So you've really adapted it to make it look more Fallout-ish, you know, when comparing to other weapons that we've seen so far in the Bethesda trailer. It seems like that's a conscious decision based off of what we've seen. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I went and added like a lot of wires and things on the side, things to make it not look like just a regular ballistic weapon, but give it some of the parts that an energy weapon would have.
How's the work coming along? Any difficulties making a mod for a game that really hasn't even been released yet?
The main thing is predicting what is actually going to be in the game and what I can use.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go with basically using the assault rifle as a base because it has the same magazine setup that I'm looking for, so I don't have to make any new animations. And that was an important thing for Fallout 3 modding, was to find a weapon that you could actually use the animations and not have it look totally ridiculous. So using that as a base, that saves me the problem. But other than planning, right now the most I can do is make a mesh and a texture. That's really all I can do. I could try to port it into the older Fallout games, but it might be a bit of a different process, and I'm sure that things are going to be changed for the newer engine. So that itself might be a waste of time. But
Yeah.
I can at the very least get the model and texture done, have it ready, maybe try to, when the game comes out, to rudimentarily put it in, because I know that the modders are able to do that before the official tools come out, but there's no guarantee that it'll be fully functional by the time before the new GEC is released.
Correct. Will you be adding your other weapons to Fallout 4?
I haven't decided yet. Frankly, I know like everyone says they're really high quality, but I feel like that a lot of them could be redone, especially the Dragonov. That was one of my earlier attempts, and all of the weapons for Fallout 3, other than the ones I did for Project Nevada, I didn't use proper normal maps in any of them. Like I didn't do a high poly and then a low poly. So I figure that I can redo a lot of them and just make them better. So I don't think I'll be porting those ones over, and if I were to, I would recreate them entirely.
Oh, okay. Any other plans for new mods? You know, other weapons?
I had thought about doing, with the whole customizable thing, I had thought about doing one based on like an AK, where you can have like different grips, stocks, handguards, that kind of thing. So where you could essentially, and even the new Dragonov might come from that because it's all kind of a similar platform.
Right.
I might take some creative liberties, to not make it entirely accurate, so that I can convert from like using, I don't know, I'd have to figure it out ultimately, but that's the one I have in mind for next, is creating like an AK based type of customizable weapon platform.
Right, and with the textures we've seen in game, it seems like you have a lot more creative license to kind of make them a little more, like I said, Fallout-ish. So that sounds really promising. Regarding Fallout 4, what do you think about it from what little we've seen so far?
I think it looks like the best game that's gonna have come out in years. There's so much to it. It's just the customization and the what you can do with the player settlements, and that's not, they haven't even gotten into like what the story's gonna be and everything else. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
My only concern is that it's going to make quests really hard to make, like for modders, because of the voiced platform, because of like the voice character.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that might be a problem. But other than that, everything looks amazing.
There's so much potential that I can see in the game. I agree with you wholeheartedly on this. It looks fantastic. Are you working on any other projects outside of modding that our viewers may be interested in checking out?
Um, Not currently, no. I am available for freelance work if anybody needs me for 3D. I do pixel art, graphic design, vector art. I have multiple mediums I work in, so if you're looking for somebody, I am available.
It sounds great. I hope that you get some offers out of this, and your further work in Fallout 4 may produce a little more interest in you now.
I certainly hope so.
You
It
know,
seems to like I was surprised that so many sites were actually reporting on the fact that I was just making a model ahead of time. It was kind of mind-boggling.
there's a lot of interest out there for the game, and be surprised how much news starved the public is for this. So it's great to see that your work is getting out there, and I hope that you get more interest out of it. I really want to thank you for coming in and talking to us, and I really look forward to seeing your work in Fallout 4.
Oh, and thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen, Zealotlee. He's a mod creator of great talent, and you'll be doing mods for Fallout 4. Thanks again, Zealotlee. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
If you're interested in seeing more of Zealotlee's creations, you can check out his portfolio here. I hope to bring more interviews with mod creators in the coming weeks prior to release of Fallout 4, and then continue after release to showcase new mods and their creators as they become available. Thanks for joining us. My name is Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.